Time is a relentless sculptor. It carves the story of our experiences into the fine lines around our eyes. It paints the passage of our years onto our skin, and ultimately, it weaves its silver threads into our hair. For many of us, looking into the mirror and finding that very first gray strand is a profound, sometimes startling moment. It is a quiet shift in our identity. It is often seen as the fading of the light of youth, and the quiet, inevitable dawn of age. We reach for dyes. We reach for cover. But nature has its own quiet intelligence. It holds secrets to vitality, hidden not in laboratories, but within the very things we pull from the earth and the sea to sustain us. Before we can restore, we must understand the delicate mechanics of color. Graying is not a failure of the body. It is a deeply complex biological shift. Deep within the terrain of your scalp, nestled at the base of every single hair follicle, are specialized cells called melanocytes. Think of them as tiny, tireless artists. They produce two distinct types of pigment: eumelanin, which paints hair in rich blacks and deep browns, and pheomelanin, responsible for golden blondes and fiery reds. Gray, silver, or stark white hair is, in its essence, completely unpigmented hair. It is a blank canvas. This occurs when these tiny artists, the melanocytes, grow fatigued. They become damaged by stress, or they simply lose access to the raw nutritional materials they desperately need to keep synthesizing color. The hair follicle itself remains alive. The strand continues to grow. But the inkwell has run dry. We must be honest with ourselves. Much of our graying timeline is beautifully and permanently written in our DNA. We cannot change the ancestral blueprint handed down to us. However, modern science reveals a fascinating truth. Premature graying, the loss of your natural color years or decades before your genetics intended, is very often triggered by a silent internal famine. It is a sign of nutritional gaps and cellular exhaustion. In these moments, the follicle hasn't died. It is merely dormant. It is hungry. Today, we will not insult your intelligence with promises of an overnight miracle. There is no magic potion that turns gray to black by morning. Instead, we invite you on a slow, natural, and deeply sustainable journey. We will explore 6 whole foods. These are not merely calories. They are the specific, biological raw materials your body is begging for to nurture your hair back to its original, vibrant state. Let us begin the slow work of refilling the inkwell. If we are to rebuild a factory of color within the microscopic world of your follicles, we must first acquire the primary master key. We need a trace mineral called copper. Why copper? In the intricate chemistry of your body, copper is the spark. It is the essential element required to unlock an enzyme called tyrosinase. And tyrosinase is the grand conductor of melanin production. It is the biological starter button that signals your body to take raw amino acids and transform them into dark, rich pigment. Without sufficient copper, the signal is lost. The black simply cannot form. Food 1. The catalyst, oysters and shellfish. Our first food draws its power directly from the mineral-dense waters of the sea. It is the humble, ancient, and incredibly potent oyster. Oysters are nature's multivitamin. They are one of the single most concentrated dietary sources of zinc and, most critically for our journey, bioavailable copper. By consuming just a few oysters even occasionally, you are sending a flood of this vital mineral directly into your bloodstream, delivering the exact key required to reignite dormant tyrosinase. The oyster offers a dual blessing. Its immense zinc content acts as a foreman, helping your body synthesize the proteins that physically construct the hair shaft. For those who follow a plant-based path, the earth has not forgotten you. While the oyster is the undisputed king of trace minerals, you can find a beautiful, resonant supply of copper in cashews, in shiitake mushrooms, and in high-quality, deeply bitter dark chocolate. The first conscious step toward restoring your color is providing the spark. The second food moves us from the cold depths of the sea to the quiet, rooted strength of the orchard. The walnut, and its smooth, resilient sibling, the almond. When we look at a hair strand, we must remember that it is not only a vessel for pigment. It is a physical structure. It requires texture, elasticity, strength, and hydration. As we age, and as our color begins to fade, the strand itself often undergoes a textural shift. It becomes wiry. It becomes thin and brittle. This loss of structural integrity makes the lack of pigment even more starkly visible. Tree nuts, and walnuts in particular, are biological masterpieces. They hold a specific, synergistic trio of elements required for hair restoration: biotin, vitamin E, and significant, sustaining levels of copper. Biotin is the mortar to your hair's bricks, vital for healthy cellular growth and the rigorous production of keratin. Vitamin E is a robust, lipid-soluble antioxidant. It acts as a protective seal around the hair shaft, locking in moisture and defending the follicle from the microscopic trauma that leads to premature graying. Think of the walnut not just as food, but as a master structural engineer for your scalp. A small handful of almonds or walnuts, eaten mindfully, chewed slowly every single day, provides a slow, steady release of fuel. It does more than encourage color. It rebuilds the foundation. It restores the thickness, the heavy sway, and the reflective shine of the hair. It returns not just the ink to the strand, but the resilient youth of the strand itself. Our third food is steeped in millennia of observation. In the ancient texts of traditional Chinese medicine, the black sesame seed has been revered by emperors and healers alike as the ultimate botanical remedy for graying hair and the physical signs of aging. This ancient wisdom teaches us that gray hair is an external manifestation of depleted Jing, your deepest, most vital life force, and a weakening of the kidney energy meridian. When we burn the candle at both ends, our Jing fades, and our color fades with it. When we look at this through the lens of modern molecular science, the ancient wisdom holds incredibly true. Food 3. The deep dye, black sesame seeds. These tiny, unassuming seeds are incredibly dense powerhouses of mineral content. They are a subterranean vault of calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and, once again, our master key, copper. But they also offer significant, easily absorbed iron and zinc. By consuming black sesame seeds, you are offering your exhausted body a complex, perfectly balanced, nutrient packet. It supports bone density, it quiets the nervous system, and it directly feeds the deeply rooted mechanics of melanin production. Make them a part of your daily rhythm. Toast them lightly in a dry pan to awaken their essential oils. Grind them into a fine, fragrant powder, and let them fall like dark snow onto your meals. Or, simmer them into a warm, sweet, comforting porridge. This is the ultimate slow food, designed for deep, systemic nourishing. Eating them is not a chore, it is a restorative ritual. We must ask ourselves, what exactly causes the color factory to shut down in the first place? Beyond genetics, the culprit is most often a destructive chemical process called oxidative stress. Every day, through pollution, ultraviolet light, poor diet, and psychological tension, our bodies produce unstable molecules called free radicals. Think of oxidative stress as your cells slowly rusting from the inside out. This microscopic rust viciously attacks and damages the melanocytes at the root of your hair. Hydrogen peroxide actually builds up in the follicle, bleaching the hair from the inside. To stop the bleaching, we need an impenetrable shield. This brings us to our fourth food. Food 4. The protector, amla, Indian gooseberry. Behold the amla, known to the world as the Indian gooseberry. Within the ancient Indian healing system of Ayurveda, amla is legendary. It is classified as a rasayana, a supreme rejuvenator of the body and mind. Its secret lies in its astounding, almost unparalleled density of vitamin C. A single amla berry contains a concentration of vitamin C that exponentially dwarfs that of a standard orange. And vitamin C is one of the natural world's most aggressive and effective antioxidants. It acts as a biological sponge, neutralizing those chaotic free radicals, halting the oxidative stress, and stopping the internal bleaching process dead in its tracks. Furthermore, vitamin C is an absolute requirement for the human body to properly absorb iron from plant sources, another mineral fiercely crucial for hair health. While many beauty rituals involve massaging amla oil directly into the scalp, consuming the fresh, incredibly sour fruit, its bitter juice, or its dried powder gives you that internal, systemic armor. Protect the factory from the rust, and you protect the beautiful product it creates. Part 6. The breath of the root. Let us review our progress. The color factory now has its spark. It has its structural engineers. It has its protective shield. But any factory, no matter how well equipped, will suffocate if it does not have air. This brings us to the crucial fifth food, spinach and dark, bitter leafy greens. When we look at modern clinical studies on premature graying, there is a recurring, dominant theme: a severe deficiency in iron and vitamin B12. Iron is the core element of hemoglobin, the protein in your red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen from your lungs to the furthest extremities of your body, including the tiny, microscopic blood vessels feeding your scalp. When your iron levels dip, your follicles are literally starved of oxygen. A suffocating follicle cannot generate the energy needed to grow hair, and it certainly cannot afford the luxury of creating color. Food 5. The breath, spinach and dark leafy greens. Spinach is not a magic wand, but it is an absolute biological necessity. It offers you high levels of bioavailable iron, folate, and rich vitamin A. Vitamin A serves its own distinct purpose. It is crucial for the production of sebum. Sebum is the body's natural, heavy oil that conditions your scalp, preventing your existing hair from looking parched, dusty, and gray. When you consume dark greens, you are essentially opening the windows of your circulatory system. You are allowing the roots of your hair to take a deep, reviving breath. When your blood is thick, rich, and heavily oxygenated, the melanin can finally be manufactured and delivered into the hair shaft with grace and efficiency. Eat them daily. Blend them into a slow, morning elixir. Sauté them gently with a touch of olive oil and garlic. Reconnect your roots to the earth. Our slow journey through the natural pharmacy has covered trace minerals, protective antioxidants, and breath-giving vitamins. The final, missing piece of the puzzle is the structural whole. Your hair is primarily constructed of a tough, fibrous protein called keratin. This protein cannot be spontaneously generated. It requires a highly specific profile of amino acids, particularly sulfur-rich ones like methionine and cysteine. This brings us to the sixth, and perhaps most complete food, the egg. Food 6. The completer, eggs. The egg is nature's original, whole food. It is a biological capsule, perfectly designed to contain absolutely everything a living organism needs to build itself completely from scratch. Critically, eggs are incredibly rich in vitamin B12. As we mentioned earlier, alongside iron, a deficiency in B12 is the single most common, glaring nutritional cause of rapid, premature graying in modern adults. Eggs also deliver heavy doses of selenium and biotin, sealing the structural strength of the new hair. If your body is the construction site for melanin, B12 and complex proteins are the master blueprints. By consuming whole, high-quality, pasture-raised eggs, you are handing your body the complete, perfect structural blocks it requires to restore, rebuild, and finally repaint your strands. 6 foods. 6 distinct, powerful elements borrowed from the natural world. The activating copper from the oysters. The structural biotin and vitamin E from the walnuts. The deep, ancient mineral density of the black sesame. The impenetrable antioxidant shield of the amla. The oxygen-giving iron from the dark spinach. And the perfect, master biological blueprint of the egg. We must leave you with one final, vital truth. The path back to your color is the slow path. It requires the deepest form of patience. Hair grows, on average, only half an inch per month. Your body must first heal internally before it can express that healing externally. You may not see visible changes at the root for many, many months as the new, repigmented hair begins its long journey upward. But this slow approach offers you a gift that a chemical bottle of dye simply cannot. It offers you foundational health. It gives you resilience. It gives you a body and a scalp that are vividly, undeniably alive. Let your daily meals become your palette. Nourish your hidden roots, not just your visible ends. Honor the time you have lived, the wisdom you have gained, but give your body the exact tools it needs to keep your physical vibrancy alive. The journey from gray to black is simply the journey from hungry to whole. Be patient with your body. Listen to its quiet requests. Trust in the slow alchemy of nature.
Hello, I invite you to join us on the Mindful Aging channel, where we discuss health and wellness for a vibrant life.